But it leads me to a third question. Why was Jonah so angry? What made Jonah so angry that God didn't destroy them? Because this sounds really personal, doesn't it? God, I want them to be destroyed. This is what was awesome when I started to study it. You see, where is Nineveh located? There's a bigger area there. Can anybody see that? Assyria. Assyria. Well, we need to know something about Assyria. Assyria was, if not the supreme world superpower, they were one of the world superpower for about 300 years. And not only were they strong, they wanted to get stronger. They wanted more land. They wanted more territory. They wanted more people. So they were all about expansion. They were constantly going into new territories, trying to take over people groups. And they were extremely aggressive by what they did. They didn't care who you were, where you were, what you did, where you're from, anything. They wanted you because they wanted to control you. And they were extremely brutal in their military tactics. In fact, one of their main things, they were brutal in their physical torture, but they developed psychological warfare. Not only as they were invading, but especially after they had captured people. So this was Assyria that Nineveh was a part of. Well, guess what? Around 850 BC, the king of Assyria, guess where he went and invaded? Israel, the northern kingdom. He fought against King Ahab, who was king of Israel at that point. Now, Israel and Ahab put up an amazing fight, and they were able to destroy a lot of the Assyrian army. But Assyria still won. They still dominated them. They still destroyed them. And if what we know about Assyria is true, that they were aggressive, they wanted expansion, and they were brutal in their military tactics, guess what would have happened to Jonah's hometown? They would have been, if they weren't completely destroyed, they would have been oppressed. They would have been brutalized and terrorized by the Assyrian people. So my best guess is I haven't been able to find it yet, that Jonah was probably born around 820 BC. So if it happened around 850 BC and Jonah was born around 820 BC, somewhere in that time frame, guess what happens? You know for a fact that Jonah either had friends or family who had experienced the Assyrian bloodshed. Either murdered or tortured or whatever. And even then, guess what happens? The stories are passed on. You starting to see a different picture now? So if you go back to chapter 1, verse 2, when God tells him, get up and go to the great city of Nineveh and announce my judgment against it because I've seen how wicked its people are, now you start to understand Jonah's people had been mistreated by the Assyrians, which would have been Nineveh. So Jonah was supposed to go and declare God's message to the people, some of probably the same people who had killed people he knew, people he loved, friends, family members, tortured them, were evil against his people. So do you understand that Jonah is a prophet of God speaking God's word? And he said, God, I am good here with my people. I will take your word to my people, but I won't go to those people. Because you don't know how they've mistreated me and mine. So Jonah ran. Because they were those people.